no, I didn't start streaming, and if I did start streaming, then it would have started streaming, you know what I'm saying? And if it did start streaming, then I'll be able to hear myself. Well, I can't hear myself, therefore, did it really started streaming? If it did start streaming, then I'll... Okay, I can hear myself. Astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Energy up. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Quran in English. My name is Ahmed, and I'm happy to take you through the next and final section of Surat Saba, the chapter of Sheba. We had a bit of story time, and now we're talking about generalized lessons. It's very interesting. But before I get into the verses, let me explain what I'm doing here. I'm reading and learning how to read the Quran in Arabic. I'm discussing what I understand in English because that's the best way for me to learn. So I'm sharing my education journey with you. If you like that, great. If you don't, okay. Also worth noting that not tomorrow morning Fajr, but tomorrow morning night is when the last 10 days of Ramadan begin. Oh, actually, we've begun the last 10 days of Ramadan. It's already here. Because the 19th is the last day that we fast. And the 20th is Eid. If I follow the new moon correctly. New moon... March 18th at 10:18 p.m. Oh, now they're saying that this is not for the USA. Aha, see, this is why it's so I have to think about the calculation because it's 10:11 in the USA, but in Europa at 2:23 a.m. So when do we do it? Technically, we should do it before the sunrise. Okay, that's not something I'm going to be able to solve right now. Either way, it's the last 10 days of Ramadan. I was thinking from tomorrow night. And why is that significant? It's significant because of Laylat al-Qadr. People believe the night of destiny is on those 10 nights. They don't know which of those 10 nights. Scholars have been arguing for many years. And I've been kind of reviewing some content which shows like that the night of destiny is when we are closest to the divine. And as we'll see in the verses that we're going to cover today, there seems to be an indication of the purpose of life being to go back to the source, back to the creator, back to God. And that there's two directions that you can go, closer to God and further from God. And the night of destiny is known in the Quran. It's, I think, one of the later chapters, Laylat al-Qadr. One night is worth 1,000 months. And 1,000 months is 83 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, divided by 12 is 83 years, which is like a human lifespan. So in one night, we're closer to God than a whole lifespan of worship. Yeah, so we're going to talk about distance. We're going to talk about being close to God. We're going to talk about being farther from God in these verses as I understand them. Anyway, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل إنما أعظكم بواحدة أن تقوموا لله مثنى وفرادى ثم تتفكروا ما بصاحبكم من جنة إن هو إلا نذير لكم بين يدي عذاب شديد. Say, understood that it's a prophet, but again, I only advise you I only advise you for one thing, that you stand for God in pairs or as individuals, and then you reflect. That is the one thing I advise you. Stand before God as pairs or as individuals, and then I ask you to reflect. At first I thought he was talking about prayer. But why does it say as individuals or as pairs? Now I'm thinking it's talking about marriage. And some people are supposed to be married and some people are supposed to be single. Because why is it pairs? Why is it not groups if it's talking about prayers in groups? And what does it mean to stand for God? And تقوموا لله. Because if you're reflecting, what does that mean? These verses, very few, but they make me think a lot, which is kind of interesting. And then it says, it is not affecting what's with your companion. ما بصاحبكم, nothing's wrong with your friend from any madness. Your fellow man is not insane. Now here they've translated again to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him. But like I've said many times in the Quran, this can be a broader statement. In huwa illa nadhirun lakum, indeed he is nothing but a warner for you. And then it says, between my hands, بين يدي عذاب شديد. Between my hands is a punishment that is severe. So here they're translating, he's only a warner to you before the coming of a seer. But it says, بين يدي. Between my hands, not between your hands. Like, as in not before you is a severe punishment. So I don't think before is the correct translation of بين يدي. إن هو إلا نذير لكم بين يدي عذاب عشر. Unless like God is saying he is only a warner for you, and God is saying between my hands is a punishment that is severe. So this whole statement is by God. So here they've made this whole thing as if the Prophet is saying it. I advise you by one thing but I don't think it makes sense. When he says ما بصاحبكم من جنة, your fellow man is not insane. So you're saying the Prophet Muhammad is saying that the Prophet Muhammad is not insane? That doesn't make any sense. This is not all one quote. Your fellow man is he talking about himself in the third person? That doesn't make any sense. It does make sense that it's changing. So here it stops. At the Jim, which I will never remember what it means, to stop and reflect. And here it's a new idea, concept, story. There's nothing wrong with your companion from any madness. Indeed, he is only a warner for you. If it's from God's perspective, between my hands is a punishment that is severe. Which kind of بين يدي can mean in my control or what I'm going to do, not necessarily before. But yeah, very interesting verse. And this is not going to be the last interesting verse of today. There are so many hyper-reflective verses for me. قل ما سألتكم من أجر فهو لكم إن أجري إلا على الله وهو على كل شيء شهيد. Say, I have not asked you from any payment, because it is for you. Everything that I say is for you. Everything that I do is for you. Oh, no, here they're saying any payment is yours. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not asking you for any payment. Anything that you want to give me, you can keep it. That's for you. That's not for me. Indeed, what I'm getting paid is except on God. God is the only one that's going to pay me. And he is over everything a witness. Yeah, beautiful. I think it's pretty clear. قل إن ربي يقذف بالحق علام الغيوب. Interesting. Say, my Lord throws truth. He's the all-knowing of the unseen. Yeah, hurls, throw it is such an interesting visual. God throws with truth. God throws the truth. It kind of makes you feel like the truth is a weapon. And in some sense, it kind of is. Have you ever tried to tell somebody who is toxic or dysfunctional or destructive, tell them the truth of, hey, what you're doing is hurting people? Whew, they retaliate. They attack. They feel like they've been hit. Truth hurts sometimes. Especially if it's people that we love, you know? There is something painful about truth. And this word, bilhaq, is like the world was created bilhaq. The world was created in truth. It's such an interesting concept that is so deep and so profound. Because what does it mean? It means that this world was, created correctly, as I understand correct, in the sense of like truth and good will prevail. This world is a good will prevail world. Which makes me think maybe there are worlds that are bad will prevail, you know? But truth is a weapon. So use it wisely. And this is something that I've learned a long time, because I very much have a lack of sensitivity sometimes. And I don't always package things in ways that people can digest them easier. And I have lost many a friend to being a bit too direct and critical. And I'm not being direct and critical to be like, hey, you're an asshole, I don't want to talk to you. I'm always, hey, you're an asshole, let's talk about it. And everyone goes, no, I don't want to talk to you. How dare you? You disrespected me. You called me an asshole. And I'm like, well, yeah, you were being an asshole. Like, I still love you. I still want you in my life, but we need to. And I expect people to do the same to me. I'm an asshole sometimes. I'm not saying I'm not an asshole, you're not an asshole. I'm saying we're all assholes. And somebody needs to tell us this. Somebody needs to communicate. That's why we need friends to tell us, hey, by the way, you're kind of being an ass. I'm like, oh, okay, fair. Though I have had friends tell me that you're kind of being an ass, and I go, yeah, I know. Astaghfirullah. Point being, truth is a weapon that can be hurled, which I find very interesting. It's a beautiful visual. قل جاء الحق وما يبدئ الباطل وما يعيد. Say, the truth has come, and nothing starts or originates falsehood, and nothing repeats it. And falsehood will never vanish, never true. And falsehood will vanish. No, that's not quite it. وما يبدئ الباطل وما يعيد. قل جاء الحق وما يبدل الباطل وما يعيد. If I read it and I translate it the Arabic as I read it, it says, the truth has come, and what originates falsehood, and what repeats it. قل جاء الحق وما يبدئ الباطل وما يعيد. What the image that I'm getting in my head is kind of like a cyclical nature. Truth, falsehood, repetition. Truth, falsehood, repetition. Truth, falsehood, repetition. Yeah, there's no vanish and there's no never. These two words are not here. وَمَا يُبْدِئُ الْبَاطِلُ, and what? It could be and not, but I understand it as and what originates falsehood and what repeats. Because the word is originates, starts. So if you do the opposite of it, what doesn't start falsehood? I wouldn't use the word starts. Doesn't start is not the same as finishes. Doesn't start is not the same as vanishes. Don't start is not the same as stop. You know what I mean? Don't start means it never started. And if it never started, it doesn't need to be stopped. The word being used is originating. Wa, ma, wa is and. Ma can be and what. Wa ma bika, and what is with you. So I do not, this translation I'm not a fan of. This translation I'm more a fan of. But this I'm not sure of. I'm not. وما قل جاء الحق وما يبدئ الباطل وما يعيد. Say the truth has come, and what originates falsehood and what repeats it. But again, who am I? I'm just some guy trying to learn. So I could be wrong. As we've discussed before, I could be an asshole. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. قل إن ضللت فإنما أضل على نفسي وإن اهتديت فبما يوحي إلي ربي إنه سميع قريب. Say, if I am led astray, if I am lost, then I am only lost because against myself. I'm only lost because of me. If I'm lost for me, because of me, on me. It is my loss, and I'm the reason why I've been lost. But if I am guided, then it is because what God has revealed to me. And this is something that applies to all of us. In this weird dystopian sense, our failures are our own and things that we have to learn, and our successes belong to God. In this strange concept, it feels like the opposite of what the human ego wants to do. The human ego wants to any blame to push it away from the self, and any good things to tell yourself, oh, I'm the reason that it's good, I'm the reason that it's good. And the Quran kind of tells us the exact opposite. It tells us that anything that is bad, blame yourself, and anything that is good, give it to God, which in a psychological sense can feel like you have no sense of self-worth, but I think it also misses the point. I think the point is that all of ourselves are worthy because all of ourselves were created by God, and all of ourselves have the same value. You know what I mean? The ego is constantly trying to prove that the self is worthy. And if you truly believe that the self is worthy, you don't have to prove anything. Just trust. Like I said, these verses, I don't know, man. Something super special about them. فَبِمَا يُوحِي إِلَيَّ رَبِّي. Yeah, I succeed. If I'm guided, it's because God has revealed it to me. And it's also like very much true. Like the reason why I have found my path is because God guides me. And I consistently ask for God's guidance. Without God's guidance, I will be lost. You have to understand what this world is and why we need to pray and why we need to connect to the divine. And I didn't understand it before, but I'm starting to understand it a little bit now. Indeed, he is all hearing and ever near. Here's that distance word again. God is near. ولو ترى إذ فزعوا فلا فوت وأخذوا من مكان قريب. If you could see when they will be terrified, there will be no escape, and they will be seized from a place that is near. Location. Here, we do kind of understand and get the feeling that it's Judgment Day, because they will be seized from a nearby place. Where's a nearby place? From the place of judgment to hell. I think the nearby place is this earthly. What's around us is the nearby place, and they will be seized from that. It could be on Judgment Day, because Judgment Day, I don't think is in a different location. I think Judgment Day is on earth, because they talk about it as the day of rising, and we kind of come out from our graves. But I'm not sure. Point being is they are seized from a place that is near. Near to what? I also think it means near to God, or nearer to God. And again, like I said, there's two directions, towards God and away from God. And right now, we're not in heaven. I think heaven is closer to God. We are here. Hell is here. That's how I would kind of imagine it. And the further you move from God, the closer you get to hell. And the more you move towards God, the closer you are to heaven. So they will be seized from a place that's near, wherever they are, and I think we're on the earthly plane, they will be seized to a place that's further. وقالوا آمنا به وأن لهم التناوش من مكان بعيد. وقالوا آمنا به وأن لهم التناوش من مكان بعيد. التناوش. And they said, we believe in it. When they are seized, they'll say, oh, we believe. But how is it possible for them to be receiving guidance and belief from a place that is far? So they'll be seized from where they're near, and they'll be like, no, we believe. And you're like, oh, how do you believe? How are you guided from being so far away from God? Now here, of course, they translate it to when it's already too late, which, well, yeah, I agree with. I was ready to fight the footnote before I read it. I'm sorry, Dad, if you're watching this, but away. وقد كفروا به من قبل ويقذفون بالغيب من مكان بعيد. And certainly they had disbelieved on it from before, and it's that same word, they throw, يقذفون بالغيب, they throw with the unseen from a place that is far. Now they translate it here loosely, they're guessing blindly from a place that's far, but the word is throw, because apparently you can also throw doubt and unknown and unseen, just as you can throw truth. قذف is the word being used here. 53, and we said, يقذف. 48, hurls. Very interesting. I didn't notice that the first time around. So when they're back there, they'll say the right answer, but it's not settled within their soul. Because the whole point of this existence is that can we find and hold on to the truth in this uncertain and confusing and bewildering and exhausting world that we live in? Or do we start guessing and throwing and rejecting and not trying to search for ourselves? وحيل بينهم وبين ما يشتهون كما فعل بأشياعهم من قبل. إنهم كانوا في شك مريب. A barrier will be placed between them and between what they desire, كما فعل بأشعم, as it was done to their kind from before. Indeed, they were in a doubt that is disquieting, alarming, horrifying. Yeah. Now here it says they'll be sealed off from whatever they desire, as was done to their counterparts before. Min qabl. Now, min qabl definitely means before. From before. Qabl. This is 100% before. Which means what? Because I've had a question coming up. Do some people go to hell directly, or do they have to wait till Judgment Day? And I think the answer is some people are in hell. I think there is a difference in... What if Judgment Day... No. I was about to say, is different for every person, or different for... No. No, there does seem to be a specific significant day. But maybe some people have a fast pass to hell, fast pass to heaven. I don't know. That would be nice. That's the end of the chapter. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Next chapter is Fatir. What is Fatir? The originator. Oh, Al-Fatir. Oh, the originator. Talking about God. I'm very excited. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Good luck with the last 10 days of Ramadan. Siyaman maqbulan for everybody. And thanks for watching. I love you. Ma salama. Bye.